another problem is, I think it's a really culture appropriate problem. I really think so. Because because Lockley, his book, he wrote like Japan has many black slaves. We really suspicious it because in Japanese history at 16th century, there is not black slaves. Yasuke is just exception, but Lockley said there is daimyo has black slave is trend at that century. It's really suspicious. I think he's lying. But recently, many other Western study or scholar said, okay, Japan also used black slaves, so black slave problem is Japan's fault or something. And it's kind of deja vu. Can I say deja vu?
Sure, yeah.
It's kind of...
that doesn't sound right at all with what he's saying.
Yeah, it's kind of deja vu because 3 or 4 decades ago, some Japanese lefty author, Yoshida Seiji, he wrote down during World War II, Japanese army bring countless Korean sex slave. Do you know komhort woman?
Yes, of course, yeah.
At that moment, Japanese military brought countless Korean komhort women, but it's just his story. It's not true. But after that, Korean people found his books and see, this is what Japan did us. And now it's a Japan and Korean conflict. It started from just not based on the true history. It's his story, but nowadays many Korean and many lefty people, lefty Japanese, believe it and still saying Japan should apologize, Japan should pay a lot more and more, and it's really deja vu. I think it is a kind of same problem. Lockley said Japan used black slaves. This is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's, I find that kind of interesting that he even said that, because I think if Japan had that kind of problem with slavery, there would be a lot more black people in Japan right now. I think if Japan had slaves like that, like he says, there would be a lot more black people in Japan currently, because of those slaves. Obviously, for generations they would breed and they would still exist. So it doesn't make sense. Like, for example, obviously we have lots of slavery here, so there's still lots of Africans in America, obviously.
But
in Japan has such a low population that doesn't really make sense. And they were so rare in Japan at the time that even in the historical sources, didn't Oba Nobunaga, wasn't he so surprised about Yasuke's skin that he told Yasuke to take a bath to see if it would come on, because he thought he had dirt or something on his skin.
Oh, you knew it, that episode.
Yes. But that's true. That's a true source, right? Isn't it?
That was true according to Yes Jurist, because Yasuke's information is mostly from jurists. Because jurists brought Yasuke, the jurist reporting his information.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe I heard that is Take a Bath episode is from jurist report. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I read. So, I mean, it seems like if that was a common, like, Yasuke, if slavery was common in that time, Yasuke, or Oda Nobunaga would not have that reaction. To seeing Yasuke.
Yes, it is. That much seldom.
Yeah, so, I don't know, I guess, back to, like, the whole, like, the history and its place, I guess, in Assassin's Creed. Again, I don't mind Yasuke being there, like, present in the story, but I think they could have picked, like, an actual Japanese person of history to be the primary character.
A primary character. Yeah.
Because again, it's supposed to be something historic, and this is not only putting Yasuke at the center, but it's also saying he's a samurai. But again, when you have a game in Jerusalem, you don't have a Japanese person, people would be mad, right? The game's in Jerusalem, but the main character is a Japanese assassin, right? So same thing. Well, how come when Japan finally gets a game, they get rid of Japanese representation? Right? I think I read that's what some Japanese people were mad about too, because they want
Okay.
Not only representation, but they want representation of like a Japanese character.
Okay. When it comes to that part, I don't mind too much because that is not big deal.
I think people are mad because if it was the opposite, it would be a big problem. So if the setting was Africa, and then they chose, let's pretend that there was like only one in the entirety of like ancient African history. There's one story of a Japanese man who was in Africa, and they choose, okay, he's gonna be the character. That would be a big problem. That would be a big problem, right? Because they're replacing a black character with this kind of insignificant person in the big picture, right?
Yeah, maybe it's problem, but this is Assassin's Creed issues has much more, a lot huge issues. So in competitive, your talk about is not so much big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on the person. At the end of the day, like I'm not even gonna play the game anyway because I think the games are not as good as they used to be. But I think these are just kind of the different arguments that are happening. I just find it interesting because there is a double standard.
Double standards, yes.
So I think it's an interesting conversation because I was surprised that it actually it kind of got to be a big deal. So apparently lots of people in Japan were very upset. So and also lots of Americans too.
That's interesting. Because I watch YouTube talking about Assassin's Creed issues argument. And there is also many non-Japanese people get mad about it. It's interesting for me.
Yes, well, because we're tired. Because in the U.S. or in the Western world, DEI is everywhere. So to us, it's obvious. It's obvious that Yasuke is a DEI choice.
Yeah.
以上となります。ご視聴ありがとうございます。